So far this week, the conventional wisdom in some quarters is that with 3 months to go until November, this presidential race might already be over. But the conventional wisdom pendulum is swinging back a bit now. Some people in the media, and even the Clinton campaign itself, is saying correctly, it's too soon to totally write off Donald Trump. So, Donny, what is the path for the Republican nominee to come back? What would it take?
A few things. First of all, he's got to put some heart in him. The con thing really hurt him. Why isn't he down in Louisiana? You know, we've never seen him interacting with people. Clinton did that with Hurricane Andrew, really helped him. That would take a big step to see his arms around people. I still think walk back the con thing. The other thing, yesterday he meant 4 times, extreme vetting, extreme vetting, extreme vetting. I know it was kind of a goofy thing I talked about yesterday. Is in reality, you can't place it. But it is an interesting twist on the way step back from the Muslim wall. It hits a nerve with everybody. Everybody basically says, yeah, we got to figure out a way, and there's no way to execute it. But stay hard line. I wouldn't waste any more time on the economy because it's just typical Republican, typical Democratic stuff. In this election, it's not going to make a difference. Be the hard line, I'm going to protect you candidate. And then, and this is the scary part that would help him, and it's hard to even talk about it. If, unfortunately, we have a horrible terrorist attack near the election, which scares me because if you're the jihadist, you want him in there, and then do you then cause one? If it's close enough, people react purely with their right brains. Let's put this lunatic in there. And the very thing that his temperament almost goes on its head. And that scares the bejesus out of me, but that's...
I totally disagree with you about the economy. I think that's got to be part of a comeback. There's a list as long. He's got to do well in the debates. He's got to be more disciplined, all that. I'll say one thing that I've heard from a couple of Republicans now, and something that I was real brought home to me by a YouTube video my brother sent me that showed Donald Trump laughing. How often do you see him laugh in public? How often do you see him show empathy, show emotion? I think the biggest thing he has to do now to get a big reset is to have people think anew about him. And to me, and to some Republicans who I've been talking to about this, it's they have to think anew because he shows himself as a full human being.
Have you ever
laugh, maybe not cry, but show emotion, show empathy. People have to think anew, wow, this guy would be a good president because he's got the character traits. Now, the doubters would say, that's not him, this all be phony. But we've seen that. We've seen Donald Trump show a fuller range of emotion in every interaction we've had with him in private than he ever does in public.
Other than him on the golf course, have we ever seen him with his jacket off? I mean, that is the guy. And, you know, you can't get to know him. He's up here. But as I said, and it's not his style, go out to the people. Go to the rural areas. Hug. Let's see a human being there. Let's see the person that the kids talked about. But I think something short of an international crisis, I'm not quite sure any of this makes a difference.
Well, I do think if there were a crisis, not necessarily the kind you're talking about, but anything that would be a test of leadership where he could show how he'd behave. Hillary Clinton has gotten away being very cautious in this race, which is her natural inclination as a politician, not necessarily as a government official. She's been cautious. Very few press conferences, very few interviews, very few dramatic moments that aren't scripted. If in an unscripted moment he could show himself in full, I think that's got to be part if it's going to be any kind of comeback.
I'm going to say again, as a dad, I'm just very afraid there's a self-fulfilling prophecy here because this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for our enemies to put a guy like that in office. They've been waiting for this, and it scares the hell out of me.